Hello, this is Jeremy Hung from Hung's Electronics, back with the third installment of the video of series on the ADP5000 series. So we're specifically looking at the ADP5470 that Digilent has provided Hung's Electronics with to review. And so in this video, we're going to cover the ADP5000 series from the perspective of a hobbyist slash DIYer slash tinker slash ham radio operators. So, legal disclaimers: the opinions expressed in this video are my own and not of my employer, university, and that even of Hong's Electronics. These are all my own views as an individual. Once again, this unit was provided by Digilent. They are sponsoring this video series. Right off the bat, I'll tell you that this is very at the high end of what a hobbyist potentially could afford, or even, like, right, as I mentioned with even the ham radio operators or DIYers, like, right, all those are kind of subsets of one another, where, right, this is really just, right, we're talking like you're doing this for fun on the side. That doesn't necessarily mean like you're like me, where you're doing electronics consulting also on the side, so you're not justifying really high-end equipment for that. Whereas this kind of assumes that you're pretty flush with cash, you want to get into electronics. If you're looking for, I mean, right, 350 megahertz oscilloscope or 500 megahertz oscilloscope, need like the logic analyzer channels, and then yeah, let's throw a power supply in there, let's throw a multimeter in there. This is probably for you. So I was trying to come up with examples to present in this video where there's like use cases for like a hobbyist and such, and the only one immediately, just because out of convenience for me, that came to mind immediately was, oh, I should, dust off my synthesizer off the shelf, see if I can power it through the ADP5000, and then also monitor using all the scope channels, monitor different portions of the outputs from like the waveform generators, through the filters, through I don't know, just like monitoring like just different parts of this. And then at least in the, hopefully here I'll probably put in a couple segments, right, where, okay, put video B-roll here of me using the synth. I will warn you that some of the sounds are a little bit jarring and such. Again, it's borderline music, borderline just me messing around. As an extension of that demo, just like, oh, here's a cool thing I can do with like synths, right, where I can measure and interact with a filter. So with the ADP5470, you can sweep, actually, right, it's kind of overkill for this application, but audio frequencies for like network analysis and such. And in this example, I have the Teenage Engineering Pocket Operator Modular 400, and this actually provides a convenient way of providing a nice like filter example of this block here. And what I've done here is, right, I've set this to where I'm just kind of seeing what it looks like on the network plot with resonance and the cutoff frequency. So if I adjust this, this should change the cutoff frequency to a much higher frequency. So right, we get this low pass filter effect, and then, yep, there it is. And so if we do that to just kind of tune it into where we want it, we can then see, let's see, yeah, it's very slow on the lower frequencies. Yep, there we go. Nice low pass filter response. Now, if we play around resonance, we get this like almost like a bandpass filtering effect in a way, where we're trying to get to this like one resonant frequency. So like right here, right, 1 kilohertz happens to be the actual value in this example that I've done. Yep, which is, yep, that's a bit of resonance there. And then we can then move the cutoff frequency to here. So actually we'll stop this, we'll run it one more time so that we don't have to wait. Yep, and here we go. Yep, there's our resonant point. And then we down to the noise floor. Then, you know, we can keep moving this, see what happens. Right, so now we've changed our cutoff frequency once more. There it is. Besides that, some of my other commentary I had in mind, again, it's very hard to justify this as a hobbyist because, I mean, right, I as a hobbyist have had better luck sourcing equipment used, and typically that's been, I mean, that's worked out for me very well, and I mean, right, for example, I've sourced a 1 gigahertz oscilloscope that's less than, or it's about 20 years old now for $300, and then I mean, right, like I have a VNA that's secondhand that's like about 3 or 4 grand, and then try to think of what else that, yeah, right. I have a Keithley multimeter, the Troll harmonic distortion meter included with that I got for like about $1,000 roughly, and then pretty much right everything else right. It's just Rigol, Digilent are typically the other brands I go with for new equipment, and right that's pretty much how I would consider that to be really the true hobbyist here. But I will say that if you are in the market for a brand new 350 megahertz or 500 megahertz mixed signal oscilloscope, this is definitely a contender, right? So uh, I might actually put a price chart in this for once because this is where it really starts to matter. But from my cursory glance at offerings from like Unity, Rigol, Sigilent, I mean, right there's a point where about at the $5,000 mark that you see 250 megahertz mixed signal oscilloscopes with like all options unlocked, or like kind of at that price point. You will find nothing at that price point, like or like really right when you get to the $7,000 mark for like the 500 megahertz model. You will not find a scope from either brands, nor even like right. Forget about Tektronix and Keysight and others that they won't. They don't even have anything priced in that range. But 500 megahertz is definitely a point where this definitely shines for sure as far as just price wise, brand new. Um, yeah, because otherwise, I really don't know if I can really recommend it for the hobbyist, so to speak. Right? Again, I prefer. Let's see if I can pull it out here. I definitely prefer the traditional analog discovery, the non-pro, right, for hobbyists and such. Because right, this definitely covers a lot of things, and I mean, right, it's like, oh, do I need 4 channels? Probably. Then right, then you might have to look at this series or some other scopes, right? And again, right, so not everybody needs the MSO options, really, right? Because right, if you're just like building circuits, like maybe kind of on the lower end RF or such for like VHF and borderline UHF, this instrument series probably is well suited for that because right, you can measure all sorts of different radio circuits, maybe like right IF or and up to even baseband, right? And again, I was trying to think of other cases where, right, where hobbyists could potentially uh, get some usage out of this. And again, it's very hard to find a very particular use case given, right, just the high barrier to entry for these kinds of scopes has always been a limiting factor. I myself, right, if I guess I have to frame it in this way of where could I have afforded this 10 years ago, when, right, I was in school, I was still dabbling with circuits and stuff, and, right, could I have done this 15 years ago, right, when I was still in middle high school, starting to at least tinker around with electronics? And the answer for both of those questions are no, inherently, right? I was better off roaming through hamfests and then, of course, saving up for Rigol and signaling equipment, rather than saving up a lot of money for and dropping it on one instrument. So, yeah, as far as just being like completely honest, it's very hard to justify for a hobbyist. But again, if you're in the market, right? If you have your mom's credit card, and or maybe, right, if you're right, either if you're flush with cash, or if your parents are willing to gift you something pretty, nice, this is definitely up there for sure. It's a contender in that aspect. Again, with like my synthesizer demo, I found it that having the triple output power supply integrated with this, and then having the 4 channel scope was really cool. And I had a lot of fun like messing around with the synth and then looking at the waveforms and stuff. So um, again, right, a lot of it at times is a little jarring to hear because I'm like, oh, there's a little too much high frequency on this or such, right? So um, headphone users warning, the video might be a little loud or a little uh, I don't know, hard to listen to. But again, I'm a really big fan of playing around with like audio circuits, right? Because I love that auditory feedback of like I'm interacting with something, I hear something, and I'm also seeing it on the screen and stuff, and it's like, wow, that's kind of cool to see all that happen at once. Again, it's very hard to beat the Analog Discovery 3 as far as your Swiss Army knife, right? It's I mean, right, even when I started out with the original Analog Discovery, that just became such an indispensable tool that if I needed more bandwidth or if I needed something else, I mean, I would go seek out the instrument that I could do that, and then I could make my crucial measurements. So it's very hard to justify dropping a lot of money on a brand new piece of test equipment. And at least, right, again, it's purely talking from just being a hobbyist, right? I'm just gonna keep it real. It's it's a lot of money, right? $5,000 MSRP non-student or 7,000 for the 500 megahertz model is, yeah, it's a lot of money. So, and again, right, like I mean, I could try to give the whole sales pitch, right, on like, oh, you should totally buy this because, right, you could replace your whole bench here with this, and that's partially true, right? It is meant to be an all-in-one. And that's at least in one of my notes that I wrote down for making this video, was that this is a very premium form factor for hobbyists. So if you are like in a constrained living situation, or I mean, I don't know if maybe a dorm room setting is a good example, but just let's say that you're living in a small studio apartment. This is definitely a good instrument to have, and then getting started on the higher end of test equipment, just like in starting to tinker with electronics and such. But yeah, otherwise it's really hard to justify. I will admit. So again, as far as hobbyists go, the Analog Discovery 3, really the Analog Discovery non-pro line will definitely serve you well. Let's see. Yeah, so I had this whole idea for a demo for ham radio applications, but then I quickly realized that one, uh, The network analyzer feature in this can't really do Smith chart and such. Again, I've already tried looking at that, and then I don't think it's really well suited to impedance match stuff. At least in the sense of like right, like a proper antenna analyzer. There's another company called what was it, Red Pataya or something that makes like a ham lab, and that's actually meant to be more of a ham radio oriented instrument all-in-one solution where not only can you use like right, you have a whole array of bench top instruments integrated into one box, but you can also use the box as a transceiver, which is actually really cool. And and right, it is priced in like the $2,000 or $3,000 price range, right? So kind of out of reach for hobbyists, but then if you think about it, there's proper HF rigs at that price point are about that much, right? I mean, these days it's very competitive. So like, right, for example, I have the FT710. That's about a $800 rig, just to the base model without the AESS like speaker attachment, and very hard to beat that because right, that is like the top one of the top five. Like I think it's like number 4 on the list for top like rated receivers, and then right then we have some other radios upcoming on the horizon here that are also very compact, right? They're trying to compete with like with the likes of like ICOM with the IC705, or with like Elecraft with like the KX2 and KX3 line, and so it's pretty hard to justify this for like a ham radio operator. The more and more I thought about it, it's very, very difficult. Like right, I mean with the base like analog discovery, you can get the like the impedance attachment tool, and you right, you have there you go, you have an LCR meter basically, or at least a LC meter, and that at least covers a lot of like nice kit building situations where you're winding toroids, right, and then you want to quickly verify that it's at least within the range of values that is expected for like the schematic, right, and stuff. Just for like Rigol, Siglet, and Unity, I mean, right, it's again, I don't know if there would be a hobbyist willing to fork up $5,000 for some of those higher end models, and then yeah, I don't know. Again, like this instrument is definitely well suited for an individual like myself who, right, I'm a hobbyist, I'm a consultant, I work full time, I'm also a grad student, so right, I get I have I'm like the perfect merger of all these like target demographics for this instrument, and this ends up being a very nice, versatile all-in-one that suits a lot of my needs. So whenever I get the chance, right, if like I'm using it, I might post like video updates and stuff about just like, oh, here's something cool I did, and then here's what it looked like and measured it on the ADP 5000 series, and so. Um, but other than that, I'm probably gonna do. I don't know. I'm thinking about after this video series, maybe covering some like software-defined radio stuff. Um, I did put in a large order for SDRs for Digilent, so I bought both the Edis Usurps, was it the B205 mini, and then the B210, and in addition to buying also the Eclipse Z7 with the SDR bundle, and so probably gonna play around with those. And I'm actually really particularly interested in the Eclipse Z7 because that actually is presents a very interesting use case for ham radio, potentially because right, the one trend with ham radio recently is right, like I mentioned with my rig, the FT710, that has an FPGA in it. It's like an RTX 7 or something, I think that's in there. And then, right, this is running a Zinc, which, right, that runs RTX 7 Fabric on the Zinc with the ARM SoC. And so, right, having that SDR front end, so right, for both the receive and transmit, presents a very interesting opportunity for development. Is this as a development platform for ham radio operators? So that's something that I'm really excited to do, at least if I have time, because literally I start my fall semester of grad courses tomorrow as of recording this, and so I'm going to be really busy. I wanted to play around with just like that whole architecture, so to speak, but then it's kind of hard to get like all this stuff in like one like nice box refined product like this, which so I'm looking really forward to experimenting with the Z7 and turning that into like basically like an HF rig of sorts. And again, out of the box, it's like really compact. So I mean, it presents a very interesting a number of use cases out of the box. And the cool thing is that it runs waveforms. So for a more general review of the Eclipse Z7, so as I mentioned, it runs on waveforms and stuff. I'll defer to Whitney Knitter's video series on that and her series of write-ups on it. It's really nice. All right, well, thank you for watching, and don't forget to leave some comments, maybe subscribe, maybe give me some feedback, and maybe drop a like or a dislike, just so that I know how I did. And I'm very, very grateful to Digilent for giving me the opportunity and the chance to review this product. I'm very grateful, and I will use it well. I will keep reporting bugs, and I will continue to make content. Hopefully, this will not be the last time we collaborate, because again, I have other Digilent products, so one way or another, I will make content on this. So mark my words.